Well, moving on now, for decades, the Strait of Hormuz has been the world's most important oil choke points. But months of disruption caused by the U.S. Iran conflict are now accelerating a major shift in global energy trade. Gulf producers are expanding pipelines, rail links, and overland export routes to reduce their dependence on the narrow waterway. The question now is whether the world can eventually bypass Hormuz altogether. Here's a report on how Gulf oil trade map is being redrawn. We'll take a look.
The Strait of Hormuz remains at the center of the U.S. Iran conflict, with Iran continuing to control the main shipping route through the narrow waterway. Despite U.S. efforts to establish an alternative transit corridor, commercial shipping has largely avoided the American-backed route due to ongoing security concerns. The conflict has also affected maritime operations. India has suspended the deployment of Indian crew members on voyages through the strait. Japanese trade representatives have similarly described the area as unsafe for commercial navigation. Before the conflict began in late February, roughly 20 million barrels of oil per day, around one-fifth of global consumption, passed through the Strait of Hormuz, making it one of the world's most critical energy choke points. The closure of Hormuz triggered a major disruption in global energy markets, but exporters across the Gulf have increasingly relied on alternative routes to keep oil flowing. Saudi Arabia's East-West pipeline and the UAE's Habshan-Fujairah pipeline have become key outlets for crude exports that would otherwise move through the Persian Gulf. Rail links and trucking networks have also been expanded to support the shift. Iraq has increasingly moved crude via land routes to Mediterranean ports in Syria, transforming regional trade flows. Syria, which handled virtually no Gulf oil exports before the conflict, now processes more than a quarter of West Asia export volumes. Kuwait is also exploring ways to access Saudi and Emirati pipeline systems to reduce reliance on Hormuz. These adjustments have helped cushion the impact of what became the largest oil supply shock in modern history. The crisis is now accelerating a wave of infrastructure investment designed to permanently reduce dependence on the Strait of Hormuz. The UAE is fast-tracking a new west-east pipeline, while Saudi Arabia is expanding capacity on its east-west export network. Plans are also being discussed to revive the pipeline connecting Iraq to the Mediterranean. According to Goldman Sachs, new pipeline projects could allow more than 45% of pre-war Gulf oil exports to bypass Hormuz by the end of next year. By 2028, that figure could exceed 60% and potentially reach 75% under an accelerated construction scenario. Adding momentum to these efforts, US companies have signed roughly $60 billion in agreements with Iraq. This includes projects aimed at creating alternative export corridors. While the Strait of Hormuz remains vital today, the current conflict is reshaping the long-term geography of global oil trade. Business Bureau, WION World is One.